In a second. There we go. I am absolutely thrilled to welcome my guest today. He is Dr. Rob Scheer. He is the founder of comfortcases.org, which we're going to talk all about. He's also an author, and he is a former foster youth who adopted, is it 5 children now?
Five. Yeah.
5 children through foster care. Dr. Scheer, welcome.
Oh, Rachel, thank you so much. And please call me Rob.
Okay, I'll call you Rob. I have to tell you, first thing, I skipped the gym this morning because I was so engrossed in your book that I was like, I have to get to the end before I talk to him. I'm an
Oh,
audiobook
wow.
narrator, so I love, love, love books. And it's hard for me because I read for a living. It's
Right.
hard for me to always get through everything before I talk to the person. I just finished the part where you you won the case with Makai and Amaya. He was fighting to become the adoptive dad of these 2 children.
Yeah.
And oh,
Oh,
wow,
oh my
it is
gosh, you just
so
made my
good.
heart smile. You
No,
just made my heart smile.
I can't recommend it enough. The name of the book for the listeners is A Forever Family: Fostering Change One Child at a Time. It is really well written.
Well, thank
It's
you.
beautiful. It's engrossing. I mean, I started it 2 days ago and I'm almost finished through the whole thing.
Wow.
Yeah, so
Well, first of all, I have to say
congratulations.
thank you. Thank you, thank you,
Yes.
thank you. It was definitely a writing a book, as you know, is not always the easiest thing. And for somebody like
Mm-mm.
me, and by the way, I'm not educated. When Simon and Schuster came to me about, doing my memoir, the first thing I told them was, I don't know the difference between there, and there. And they said, you know what, we're going to help you with that. And so they did. We wrote a Forever Family, put it on the pages and put it out there in the universe. And by the way, I have to say, there's been so much love from the universe about this book. And, as our lives have gone on, my kids are getting older. And in 2019, Rachel, we did something that we never thought we would do. We adopted another child.
Wow. Wow. So this book was published in 2018, so
Right.
that child is not
No.
covered in this book.
No, no. So a
Wow.
second book is in the talks because
Yay.
because when we met Alex in September of 2019. I was giving a talk, and this young man walked up to me and he asked me to sign my book. And I was on a book
Hmm.
tour, and I found out this young man had been in foster care life. He didn't
Hmm.
have that one caring adult who really cared
Yeah.
about him. He was a
Yep.
senior, 3.6, Rachel.
Wow.
And I knew at that moment that we had to do something. So literally 3 months after that, my husband and I asked him if he wanted to live with us. Um,
Aw.
and he was just, what? And it was 2 weeks before his 19th birthday.
Wow.
And my husband and I were the very first couple in the state of Maryland to petition the courts to have a child from foster care live with us without a stipend. And I remember the judge said to me, Mr. Shear, why would you do this? And I said to the judge, as I say to all your viewers and listeners,
Hmm.
every child deserves a foundation. Every child deserves to know there's someone there rooting them on. But what I
Hmm.
want children to truly feel is, what does it feel when someone loves me unconditionally?
Hmm.
Unconditionally. It's
Yeah.
something we don't see enough in this world. And for our son, I said that. And I remember I
Wow.
looked over and Alex was crying and he was like, Pops, you've changed my life. It's
Oh,
like,
that's
no, you
beautiful.
changed our lives. And I remember I said to the judge, Your Honor, I only have one regret. And the judge said, Mr. Shear, what is your regret? And I said, I didn't get to walk him to kindergarten, but now I get to
Oh,
walk with him for the rest of his life.
yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. Wow. That's so great.
Thank you.
So your all of your kids are grown now, grown-ish. How old are they?
Grown-ish. So, our kids are now 17, 19, 19, 21, and Alex is now 25. And by the way, Rachel, all five still live at home.
Oh my God, you guys are, oh my God, I just love this
They
house.
all still
I
live at
love
home.
hearing about the animals. You live on a farm, and I was reading your bio and you have animals and a pig named
Yes, yes, a pig
Petaluma.
named
Was that it?
Penelope. Pig named
Penelope.
Penelope, all for Mackay. And you read the story about Mackay. Mackay was, we were told he would never talk and probably would never walk without braces. And
Hmm.
I look at my son, he is 19 years old, finished his freshman year in college. He is still to this day, he has taught Reese and I how to look at the world upside down. And
Mm.
I think that's the reason that we have been able to be where we are. 17 and a half years ago, Maya and Mackay arrived at our front door with a trash bag. And then
Yeah.
3 months later, Tristan and Grayson arrived. And, to see their journey now. And yesterday I was on a TV show with Tristan and he was talking to them about, they said to him, they said, tell me how do you feel growing up with parents who are, in the limelight? And he said, my life is not the same as most kids. I'm on TV a lot. He says, but my life is so amazing. To
Oh,
hear my boy say that,
yeah.
Rachel, it's all been worth it.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's incredible, particularly knowing from reading the book where you came from, where you started life out with a lot of trauma. And then, of course, getting to adulthood and having to cope in various ways when weren't able to, didn't have a solid foundation under you. And to surmount all of that and then be able to do this
Yeah.
is quite extraordinary and quite not the it's not the typical way that it goes for most kids from foster care.
Yeah, I will have to say I do see that now that I've been through this journey. I call it the awakening. It's like all this stuff I've never realized. And for so many years I didn't want to tell people my story. I
Yeah.
think that and as I've told my story and as how this has grown, I have met so many amazing humans who have lived experience like me who also felt ashamed. And so what we're hoping is this next generation of young people is to realize, don't be ashamed. Don't ever be ashamed of where you come from. Don't you
Yeah.
ever be ashamed of who you are. And by the way, I made sure, like I tell people, I will never allow a trash bag to define me, much
Mhm.
less define anybody else.
Mhm. Let's talk for the listeners about the trash bag in case people aren't familiar with what you're even referring to and then what you did about it.
Yeah. So, the thing is in 1979, I'm one of 10 kids, and I walked into the foster care system with a trash bag in my hand. And people don't even realize that that is the norm. Happened again in 1984 when I aged out of the system and that bag was put in my hand again. And when I made the decision that I wasn't going to have that as a conversation piece, and when I joined the United States Navy, and by the way, I didn't join the Navy to take care of any of your viewers. I joined the Navy because this kid needed a future and I
Mhm.
built it. And, I never thought much about it until my kids arrived. And when I saw that trash bag again, it was just that, oh my gosh, how could this be?
Yeah, what is the
Nelson,
message
yeah.
there?
Nelson Mandela says it so clearly. Every single one of us in society are judged by the way we treat our children. Kids in foster care, I remind you all, they do not belong to you. They don't belong to me. They belong to us. To
Mhm.
us. And so the way I saw these groups of kids being treated after all of these years, how I was treated,
Mhm.
I said I can't stand on the sidelines and watch a game being played because as a leader, it's my responsibility to get in the game and play it.
Mhm.
So that's what we did. We grabbed a backpack and we put all those essential items that we take for granted: new pajamas, toilet, toothbrush, lotion, shampoo, bars of soap, things that we don't even think about. These kids don't
Mhm.
even know. And by the way, my beautiful teeth, and my teeth are beautiful. They cost me so much money because nobody gave me a toothbrush. They didn't care
Right.
about that. So with that, we saw this wave go across our country. And in the last 14 years, at Comfort Cases, we have delivered over 320,000 backpacks.
Amazing. Amazing. Tell me how do they get to the children?
Sure.
Do you have partnerships with agencies or
All
how did the children actually get these
So we
cases?
are actually we're a 96% volunteer ran organization. Our organizations are unheard of when it comes to our 990s. More than 80% of our nonprofits throughout the United States are 250,000 and below. So
Mhm.
if you hit that 300,000 mark, you come into the big games. The thing
Mhm.
for me is that it wasn't about that. What was it about was making sure that our pathway moved forward without hurting those around us. And here's an example.
Mhm.
People think that the government's taking care of these kids, but let me tell you, that is not the correct
Mhm.
answer. So many times all of this is put on the social worker, and our social workers, as we all know, are underpaid, understaffed,
Yep.
overworked. And so with us, we wanted to make sure that we did the easiest thing possible for them. So what social workers can do, they can go to comfortcases.org, they can go up to the top, order a case. They can order cases from birth up to the age of 21. They can order all month long. And by the way, we send them to them, and our cases retail for about $133. They get them free.
Wow.
Free. And the reason for that is because we have the largest corporation in the world sponsoring us, our human race. Our human race. We don't have large corporations stroking us checks on a regular basis, but
Mhm.
what we do have is we have people every single day donating $8, $10, truly making an
Mhm.
impact to get us to a $5 million nonprofit.
Wow. I did see on your website, I can't remember what it was called, but the thing about a $10 a month, you had like a
So,
cute name for it. What's the
yeah,
name
our
for it?
Comfort XLs.
Yes.
So, about 9 years ago, Reese and I realized that our trash bag wasn't being eliminated.
Mm-hmm.
We knew that we were giving hope and dignity to our youth with all of those essential items in the backpack, but the trash bag was still being used. And
Yeah.
so I decided to go door knocking, and I got a meeting with Briggs and Riley, the leading luxury luggage brand in the world. And I
Wow.
told them my story, the story of
Yeah.
a 12-year-old little boy who had walked with a trash bag, and how at 18 he was defined with that bag again.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember Richard said, "What do you need?" And I said, "I need a bag. I need a bag that can fit." Because I hear all the time social workers don't have space, so I can't use a piece of luggage. I said, but I need the bag to be durable. I need the bag to be something that kids want to carry. It took
Yeah.
about 4 months for Briggs and Riley to get me the prototype, but
Mm-hmm.
this is what they designed for me. This is what we call a Comfort XL. This is a
Okay.
32-inch duffel bag. It folds out this.
Wow. That's awesome.
Mind
Yeah.
you, these retail for $119. I've given out over 200,000 of them free. Free.
Wow.
So when
Wow.
people become bag busters for $10 a month, I'm able to take this and give it to a kid in foster care.
Mm-hmm.
No more trash bags. And by the way, Rachel, that has started a movement. So in states like Texas, New York,
Yeah.
Maryland, we're passing bills
It's
that are
fantastic.
requiring social workers give these type of things. So
Yep.
yeah, the
Yep.
movement is happening.
That is so great. I live in New York, and I know that that law was passed, no more trash bags in New York, I think last year. I
Yes,
don't know
yeah.
if it's gone into effect yet.
It has gone. It goes in effect. Technically, it goes in effect this year. It took about 8 months for the governor to sign it. I'm not going to go there, but
Right.
it's signed, and we're moving forward.
Right.
And again, this is not about somebody trying to hold. This is about accountability. This is
Yeah.
about understanding that children come in with so much trauma that we need to make sure that we give them all the things that can make them feel better than where they were. And I've had people reach out to me and saying, "Why? That's snobby, all new stuff." No, by the other way, my kids have had hand-me-downs. I've gone to thrift stores. I'm not
Yeah.
saying that. What I'm
Yeah.
saying is that the constant crap that we're
Yeah.
giving these kids is not acceptable.
Yep. I couldn't agree more. I really could not agree more. They deserve dignity. They deserve something in their life that's new and just for them. And I just appreciate what you're doing so well. I did see on your website that there's a way to sign up to do a $10 continuous donation, like $10 a month. Can you tell me about that? Because I think I'm going to do that. That sounds amazing. Oh wait, I lost you somehow. I lost
Are you there?
your. There you go.
Okay, that's
Yes.
good. As I was going to say, so and most people spend that amount of money at that overpriced coffee shop. And by the way,
Oh
I
yeah.
visit that coffee shop too. I just don't say the name of it because they don't donate to us. But what I tell is that once a month, $10. And by the way, most of us don't miss that. We put it on our credit card, it's $10.
Right.
For a young person in foster care, that's the
Yeah.
difference between a trash bag and dignity.
Yep.
$10. Go to comfortcases.org, become a bag buster, and join that movement because every time you give that $10, you are empowering youth.
Yes, I'm going to do it. And also, I'm somebody at Christmas time or at the holidays, I like to give a gift to clients. I'm also a voice actor and audiobook narrator. And I decided a couple of years ago, like instead of buying some junk that nobody really wants or candy or this or whatever it is, I'm going to do a donation
In their
and
name.
forward that. Yeah. And so this sounds like this is my new holiday plan. And I encourage our listeners to get on board because I can't think of anything that would just make more of a difference and just be
Well, Rachel,
impactful.
you and I will have to get together and do some videos on that for your
Oh, I
because
love that.
I love the fact that give things to people that truly let them know that you know what we're investing in all of us.
Yeah.
And by the way, we don't need another coffee cup. We don't
Right.
need another piece of chocolate. What
Nope.
we need to do is empower our youth.
Yes. I totally agree. Another thing, speaking of empowering youth, I noticed on your website that you do have a scholarship fund.
Uh,
And tell me about that.
So most people need to know statistics when it comes to foster care. Right now, we're hovering close to 400,000 children in the United States foster care system. That equals out to one child every 2 minutes that enters foster care in the United States. These kids enter because of a choice someone else made. The statistics are so dark. Only 54% of them graduate high school.
That's insane.
Insane. Only 11% get a 4-year degree. And the sad part is 70% of all kids in foster care talk about they want higher education.
Mm-hmm.
So at Comfort Cases, we decided that, you know what, we're going to give them that opportunity. So we give scholarships out. Those scholarships, we have an application process. This year we had 59 applicants. And I
Wow,
was
great.
heartbroken because I only have 5 scholarships.
Mm-hmm.
And so listen, everybody, if you want your legacy to be a scholarship, reach out to me at Comfort Cases and we would love that. But
Oh, I
what
love
we
that.
do
Yeah.
we give them $2,500 the first semester, $2,500 the second semester. This money can be used in everyday life because these kids don't have anybody to
Sure. Yeah.
rely on that. But the things that I love is that we have communications with our scholars. They get hope boxes from us for the first year they're in college. They get a box from us every month that has all the
Oh, that's
necessities that
great.
you would send your kid in college. But then
Yeah.
we give them a mentor. That mentor will follow them through their years. We also give them financial literacy people to help them with their FAFSA, all of those things. But for Reese and I, the thing for us is we let every scholar know we're always here for you. You will never be homeless. You'll
Mm-hmm.
never not have a team, and just reach out. And matter of
That's so
fact, we had one
wonderful.
scholar who actually came and lived with us for a little bit because their college had closed.
Mm-hmm.
So we walk the walk. We truly
Yes.
want to make sure that our kids know that we're there for them. And by the way, not everybody's meant to go to college. So what we do is we
Mm-hmm.
open up that to trade schools as well,
Oh,
because we
great.
do need people to go to those schools.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's so wonderful.
And the nice thing,
This, go
sorry to
ahead.
cut, but I also want people to know is that, you don't have to do a complete full scholarship. You can do a partial scholarship. You can donate to the scholarship fund. You will
Mm-hmm.
then be recognized and all of that. So again, if you have an interest in that, which I see we all could, let's get some more scholarships out.
Yes, yes, another good donation opportunity. And obviously, it's tax deductible because you are a
We are a
nonprofit.
501c3.
Yeah,
We are
exactly.
we are a nonprofit, and as nonprofits, our responsibility is to make sure that when you give me a dollar, I make that dollar go as far as I can. And by the way,
Mm-hmm.
look at people's 990s. When we get a dollar, 96 cents of that dollar goes to our mission. That is
Mm-hmm.
unheard of,
Yeah.
unheard of. And so the reason for that is I run my organization like I ran my companies, lean, tight,
Mm-hmm.
and making sure that we're impacting.
Yeah, that's so important because some of these places you don't even know where the money is going to. It's going to more, flyers and nonsense to reach out to people more and it's
Yeah.
not going to the thing you wanted it to go to. So
Yeah.
I do appreciate that. I want to ask you about something. This has been on my heart a lot lately. Um, it's a complicated subject, but your experience, your lived experience through the foster care system and adoption and adopting, I want to ask you about this specifically. There's a growing movement, like an anti-adoption movement. A lot of people feel that it is, you're steal. They'll even go so far as to say you're stealing children, and it should be stopped, and there should be no more adoption. I have my feelings about that. I would love to hear your feelings about that.
First of all, every single young person needs to have a foundation. So, just very much like our kids, we waited for the bio families to get their act together.
Right.
But I have reminded people all the time it is not fair for kids to sit on the sidelines waiting for adults to be adults. That is
Yeah.
not why they were brought into this world. And so, for me, I have reminded everyone each one of us fall, Rachel, all of us. It
Yeah.
all depends on how we get up. So I'm sorry to say this, adoption needs to happen,
Hmm.
permanency needs to happen. But, and mind you, I say but,
Yeah.
when a child enters foster care, we've already failed. We've
Hmm.
already failed. We need to support those families so they don't lose their children. 64% of all kids who enter foster care enter because of one word, and that word is called neglect. Neglect is no more defined as poverty. Mom can't afford to pay the electricity. So for 2 weeks, kids don't have electricity. They're outside at all crazy hours.
Hmm.
Neighbor, instead of walking over, doing the neighborly thing, which is saying, excuse me, is there something you want to talk about? Do you need instead what they do call CPS. You know,
Hmm.
mom leaves her 5-year-old with her 12-year-old because she's working two jobs and can't afford daycare. And
Hmm.
so instead of the neighbor coming over and saying, "Can I watch the kids for a couple of hours to help you out?" Neighbor calls CPS. That is not why our forefathers built communities. They
Right.
built communities for us to take care of each other. So we have to stop and realize that what affects our neighbor affects us. So
Hmm.
let's be more neighborly.
Yes, I love your passion. I really do. I feel it. I can feel it through the screen, and it's wonderful. Um, yeah, I think that there are, uh, you know, there's reasons why adoption can be not a good thing, right? Like, but
Yes,
there's
of
so
course.
many reasons why it's a necessary thing. And I think we have to just, on all sides, people need to broaden their scope a little bit and say, look, yeah, it is a tragedy. It's sad.
Yes.
It is an absolute tragedy when somebody can't be with their bio
Their
family,
family
with
of origin is the
their family
hardest
of
thing.
origin. It
Yep.
is. It is. But you can still have an amazing life and you can get what you need, which you wouldn't get if you were stuck in the system. It strikes me because I was just reading this part in the book that you were saying in the book that had you not gotten the okay from the judge and the go ahead to adopt these children, they would have been moved to a different foster
Yes.
family,
Yes.
which to me I was like, what? Why
Yes.
would they ever
Yes.
do that? They had already
Yes.
been with you for what, like a year or something,
Over a year. The kids have been
over
with
a
us almost
year,
2
and
yeah.
they're going to uproot those children and put them with a different foster family? That's
Because
insane.
we pushed the system. Because we said this isn't happening on my watch. I couldn't sit back as I mean, here's an example. Our daughter, my beautiful, beautiful daughter, and I only have one girl. And by the way, I've raised her as a princess because she will be a queen one day. My
Absolutely.
daughter, we would take her after school to see her mommy. And we would go to this place to because it was supervised visitation. Week after week, they required us to show up. She never did. So
Yeah.
every week, our daughter would be so excited and then let down. And that just happened for 4 straight months.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
unacceptable, Rachel.
it is.
And also, I want people to know is that kids have a life story before we adopt them and keep that life story going. We have amazing relationships after all of these years with quite a few of the biological family
And
members.
that's
And,
wonderful.
I say this to each and every person who adopts. If your table's not big enough, build a bigger table.
Mm, hmm.
because
Yeah.
everybody deserves to come to the table to lift up these young people. And the thing that Reese and I get to say to our kids, you can never look at your dads and say, we kept you from your bio family. We
Right.
never changed our phone number. We
Hmm.
made all of our stuff public. And what we said to each and every one of them at the court, listen, we might have been able to adopt your kids. You are still their mom and dad.
Hmm.
And so come break bread with us. Enjoy those milestones that we're going to
Hmm.
have.
Hmm.
But always remember, we are their parents. You must always respect us. And
Yeah.
we've been very lucky. We've had relationships with some bio family, even a bio mom. And so,
Hmm.
yeah,
I
it's
was
just,
going to ask, did you ever, was there ever a situation where that felt unsafe or like it what? Because I know a lot of
it did.
foster parents are like, it just doesn't feel safe to like open that door that wide like
I
that.
Well, no, I never felt unsafe under that part of it, but I
Okay.
did, there was a moment where our daughter had relationships with one of the family members, and it just wasn't healthy.
Mm,
And so we had to step in. But other than that, everybody has stayed within their lane. And our kids are the ones that benefit from all of this.
yeah.
And, as I say to our kids broke the cycle like I broke the cycle. See, my
Yes.
mom, my mom did exactly what her mom did. And people
Right.
said to me as I was growing up, "Oh, your mom was a product of her environment." BS. My mother was a product of her choices. And
Mm,
that's what I try to remind people. You can sit here and say all of your product of your environment, oh my poor. You are a product of your choices. Now, I'm not saying those choices are always easy, but
right.
we are all products of our choices.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. And I wonder if sometimes the circumstances or the makeup of the person, just by virtue of who they are as a person, might make it more difficult or a little less difficult to make those choices, right?
Exactly.
There's addiction. I mean, you talk in your book about substance abuse and that kind of thing, but for you were able to get out of that.
Yeah.
What do
And
you
by the way,
attribute that to?
my grit. And
Hmm.
by the way, my grit, my Heavenly Father. See, I have a faith that people can't even realize because my Heavenly Father loves me unconditionally. So He didn't put anything in front of me that I couldn't get over. I had to constantly remind myself of that. So between the drugs and all the stuff that I had done, the trying to abuse myself because I felt I deserved it,
Hmm.
um, I realized that no, it's okay. I forgave people. And I realized that the system wasn't going to define me. And I'm
Yeah.
not blaming the system. I'm here to change the system.
Hmm. Nice. Yeah. Talk to me about the transracial piece. Um I know that you were in touch with the grandmothers and that was a
Yeah.
wonderful support.
Grandma,
I'm trying
grandma
as a
passed
white
away.
person. Oh,
Grandma
I'm
passed away
sorry.
several years ago, and she was a very big part of our life. Like we're
Yes.
talking weekly dinners. Grandma Wise never missed anything. And by the way, so people will know, Grandma treated all four of the kids like they were hers. She didn't treat Amaya
Right.
Mackay differently than she treated
Yeah.
Grace and Tristan. But
That's
the thing
beautiful.
that I want people to understand is that Reese and I are two white men, and
Hmm.
we've raised four black kids. And for all those people that thought we were going to take their blackness away from them, and all those people that made me get bonding study experts, and I actually had to hire somebody that would say that I wouldn't change my boys to being gay. So all these years have passed, by
Oh
the way,
God.
Rachel.
Yeah.
Our kids, none of them like the theater. None of them like show tunes. None of them know who Barbara Streisand is.
Oh my God, that's so
So where did
funny.
I go wrong? But what I tell people have walked up to my family and they've seen us on the Ellen show or in People magazine. They're like, "Oh my gosh, there's that family. You're such a beautiful family. We don't see any color. We see love." I look at those people and I say, "Well, then guess what? You don't see my four black kids because
Right.
my kids are black and my kids are treated differently than I am. And when my sons go into a Macy's or Nordstrom's, they want to know what they're going to take.
Hmm.
For me, they want to know how much is on my credit card. And I have
Yeah.
seen that firsthand. So let's all understand the fact that we are treated differently, and my kids are black.
Hmm. Yeah. And how has that, have you discussed as they've gotten older, have you discussed that with them?
Yeah.
And how
Well,
have they, where have they fallen in terms of that kind of thing?
Well, having 5 kids, one being white, we have raised our white child differently than our black kids. When my all of my kids drive now, so we have to teach our boys, when a cop comes behind you, you better,
Yep.
and I hate to say that, but we have to be that.
Yeah.
In Yesterday we were being interviewed, and the person on the TV asked my son, 17-year-old son, so you've grown up with your family, and your dads are gay, and do you get picked on, or does anybody say negative things? And our son said, no, no, I've never had negativity. I've never, and their siblings say the same thing. So I think that generation gets it
Yes.
compared to our
Agree.
generation where we
Yeah.
had all the issues.
Yeah.
Um, our kids say it all the time. We don't care. We have 2 dads. What we love
Right.
is that we have 2 parents that truly care for us. My husband gave up his entire career to be a stay-at-home dad. He's been raising our kids for the last over 15 years being a stay-at-home dad. He's got the
Wow.
hardest job in the world. But let me tell you,
Yes.
he's never missed a track meet, never missed a football game, never missed a volleyball game. He's never missed a field trip. That is what he wants to do. And by the way, our kids love that. So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I really felt your love for him in the book too, and I really enjoyed that. There
the
is
love
nothing
story.
like having a partner to do this with, like to do child rearing with, because wow, it is. I when we became parents, my husband and I were like, bow down to single parents. Like, oh my God, doing it all by yourself. Like, how do they do it? It's
Try to get
incredible.
four in diapers all within 3 months. Um, yeah, wow, being a parent is the greatest gift. It's the
It is
greatest.
such a trip. It really changes your life. And like you were saying in the book, like you went from being like you were two dinks, and immaculate house and all the
Oh,
nicest things and whatever, to all of a sudden like just insanity as you walk in the door and
and it
shoes
never
and mud
changed.
and yeah.
It never changed.
Okay.
It,
Uh-oh. Then I my kids are 10 and 5 and we're like, when is this gonna
No,
end?
doesn't end, and we're okay with that. We've moved
Yeah.
to a farm from the city, and it doesn't change. But gosh, it's so rewarding. It's
Yeah.
just so rewarding, and recent I just celebrated 21 years. I am still madly in love with
Congratulations.
him, and I always laugh and say he doesn't always like me, but he truly loves me. And we have a we're really excited about the next chapter for us. Our
Ooh,
kids are
tell us
older. Yeah,
what's the
our
next
next
chapter
chapter,
looking like?
we're looking at a
Yeah.
second book.
Mm-hmm.
We're doing some TV, but we're looking some really one-on-one time together. For the last 17 and a half years, my husband's focus has been on our kids and me.
Mm-hmm.
And
Sure.
so, for the first time, our son Tristan got his license, and Reese was like, I don't have to be an Uber anymore. And so I said to him, I said, so you think you're going to go back to work? You haven't, and he was like, no. He's like, this is my time.
Yes.
He's like,
Yes.
the beach house that we've been talking about, the new color in the master bedroom. This is my time. And
I
I
love
love
it.
that because he earned this time. He
That's right.
earned this time. Yeah. Reese.
Yes. Yes. Oh, that's so great. I love him. I don't even know him yet, but I love him anyway. Uh, Another thing I wanted to ask you about is I see a lot of people sticking on this in like online forums, foster parents who are concerned about their foster kids calling them
Mom and
mom
dad.
or dad. And it's like, should I let them do that? Should I not? Tell me what you think about that.
We got reprimanded by that when the kids first came. And I said, how could I tell them no? I mean, I didn't tell them,
Yeah.
you got to call me daddy. I didn't say
Right.
that. And a matter of fact, I wrote it in the book where my daughter was the one who looked at my husband and said, you're dada and you're daddy. And we were
Yeah.
shocked. We didn't ask. She was calling me Mr. Rob and Mr. Reese. And so when she had that comfort level to do that, then why the hell would we ever deny a
Yes.
kid of that? And by the
I
way, as
love
a
that.
parent, if you're that insecure, maybe you need the therapy
Hmm.
because a lot of kids call people, my kids, they have a Grammy and Pappy. They're not blood related to them,
Right. Yeah.
but that's
Yeah.
their Grammy and Pappy and have been with them forever. Um, yeah, I think people need to figure out we have other things to worry about.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I
We
think
have
that they're so
other things.
concerned about like the PC aspect of like, well, they already have a mom or dad, so it's not right for them to call them. I would be doing something bad to the birth family or whatever by allowing that to happen or something. I think that's part of the
No,
headspace, but it's
no,
like take the
again,
child's lead. Yeah.
again, this isn't about you. This is about the
Right.
kids. That's what I tell people. When I hear
Yeah.
people say that, and I've said this on public forums, this is not about you. Okay?
Mhm.
This is about the young youth. How are
Right.
they feeling? What do they want? We've
Yes.
forgotten that. We need to
Yes.
sit down. We need to talk to them. Don't talk down to them. Sit and talk to them. You'll find out the things that we worry about, they don't. The
Right.
things that we feel are big picture are small to them. They're worrying
Mm.
about other things that we should be worrying about, their future,
Yeah.
not who they call mom and dad.
Right. Thank you. Thank you for that. Yeah. Yeah, there's these little things that people, I think it's the culture of online whatever, that people get bogged down in these little details that take away from the actual what's important to be focusing on.
All the time.
And yeah, and I also think there's a swing in this direction of adoptees, and I absolutely appreciate and respect adoptees finding their voice, talking about their experience, like how it may not have been great for them in every way or whatever it is. They're sharing their piece, and I get that and I respect that 100%. But that doesn't mean it's everybody's experience. And so
Exactly.
now people are potential foster parents are coming to me and saying, I is it wrong for me to like hope to adopt? And I'm like, what, are you
I
kidding
know because
me?
and that's the crazy part. So when we got into this, there was a thing called foster care to adopt. Okay,
Hmm.
simple as that. And by the way, it's still there. They just don't say it anymore.
Right.
It's okay. It's okay for you to come into a situation where you want to see permanency for a child. We all should want permanency for a child. It's okay that you can mourn if a child actually has to go back to their birth parent because you do have a loss, but you can also celebrate. Okay, so let's look at it both ways. I think so many times, as I said to you earlier, we're forgetting about the kids, about what
Hmm.
they want, about what they need. And once again, permanency, we all want it.
Yeah.
Why couldn't kids
But
get it?
then they would say, well, but it's not about what they want because they're too young to make that decision. So you're making that decision for them. I mean, I
Oh my
just followed
God.
a fight online about this.
Well, let me tell you something. You and I both know as parents, kids are resilient. We
Hmm.
also know the kids have their own mindset. And when they put their mind to something, you better believe they're going to do it. So you can all say that they're too young to make the BS. If you raise your young person the way they need to be raised, they're making good decisions.
Hmm.
And you
Hmm.
should sit back and be proud of them for that. So stop with the fact that they can't be a part of the conversation. It affects them.
Yeah.
It affects them. Even at a
Thank you.
young age, Rachel, it affects
Yeah.
them. We have to be more honest with our youth. We have to be more, invite them to the table for the conversations because this affects them. And if you want a different outcome, try something new
Hmm.
because what you've been trying, not working.
Yeah.
80% of our death row inmates in or touched by foster care.
Wow.
80%.
Wow. Ooh.
Wow.
Are you involved in policy making? Like, do you like lobby Congress and do all that kind of stuff or?
I am one of these people who believe that if I pick my low hanging fruit, my tree grows taller. And so I really don't spend a lot of time in the minutia. There's a
Hmm.
lot of talk. I need action. I
Hmm.
need action. And
Hmm.
so if they invite me to the table, I come to the table. But Rachel, I'm going to tell you something, and you should have learned this by now. I
Hmm.
don't get invited often because I'm not a yes person. I'm not a
Right.
person that's going to sit here and tell you what you want to hear. I'm going to sit here and tell you what you need to hear. And with that, it's the whole reason of child welfare. See, child welfare is an industry that makes money on the backs of children. And they don't want people like me because I'm going to call the
Hmm.
wrongs out. I'm not going to point fingers because that's not how things get done and solved.
Right.
But we cannot change something without accepting what we did wrong. And
Hmm.
that's what we need to do. And nobody wants to do that because if you start doing that, you're going to see waste. And when you see waste, people get cut, and people don't lose their jobs. They need to
Mm,
lose their jobs because our statistics are not acceptable. And doing the
mhm.
same status quo year, century after, it's got to change. It's got to
Yeah, it's
change
not
today.
working. Yes, I totally agree with that. I actually appreciated that in your book too about how you were you drew upon that grit a lot when you were going through the system part of fostering and adopting to fight for things and to stand outside or wait in the lobby and wait for the head of DCF to come down and then like talk
Better
to.
believe it.
And I have to say, I mean, I tell that to parents all the time. It's like you have to be the squeaky wheel.
You
You
have
can
to.
be you can be polite and and you shouldn't be like overly combative because they don't like that and it's like the DMV and then they won't do you any. I say that, but it's like you watch what you do because then they'll make it like 10 billion times harder for you if you're not like you know what I mean if you don't
Yeah.
tread lightly.
No, I agree.
However, you can never give up. You have to be one of those people, and I think we share this in common, who's just like, I am not going to stop until this thing happens for my child that needs to
And
happen.
always remember, we attract more flies with honey than we do vinegar.
Yes.
So you kill them with kindness, and you 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 go to them with facts, not emotions. Okay, because
Yes.
emotions is what gets us in trouble,
Mm-hmm.
and we all have them. But
Mm-hmm.
we have to come to the table with facts. The fact that they didn't give Mackay speech when we needed to get, you know, that's what we need to do.
Mm-hmm.
Facts.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I like that. That's a great tip. That's why I documented everything. That's why I attended every court session just like you did. Even though they don't really even want the foster parents there, I was there every time. Talk about not understanding what they're saying. They're speaking in jargon. They're speaking at like this volume that's like really low, and you're
I
just like,
know.
what are they even saying? Like, what's happening? But yeah, I appreciate that as a tip. Yes.
Listen,
Boy,
Rachel, this has been amazing.
yeah, it's so great to talk to you.
Oh,
I really appreciate what you're doing. I appreciate your heart. And I'm going to get all my listeners on board. They're going to visit your website. They're going to sign up, hopefully, for the $10 a month. You waste that
$10.
on the coffee place every week. Come
And
on.
and by the way, Rachel, I'm in New York quite often, so you and I are going to have to grab that coffee. My
Oh, I would
treat.
love that. Let's do that. Yes.
I I really hope that your listeners and viewers understand that not everybody in this world can foster, not everybody can adopt,
Hmm.
but every single one of us can volunteer. We can donate. And people say
Yep.
to me, I don't have any money to donate. You have the most valuable thing in the world. That's your time. Your
Yeah,
time.
that's right.
Donate your time. Become a casa. There's so much that we can do. And always remember, we are all put on this earth for one reason, and that is to serve. To serve.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
it took me many, many years to learn this. Many, many years to learn this. But I have to say that your life is always should be about your legacy. And your legacy is what you give and not what you take. And that's what we need to
Hmm.
understand is our legacy.
Hmm. That's beautiful. That's a beautiful place to stop. Thank you so much. We're going to be in touch. We're going to get
Yes.
that coffee.
Let's do it.
Absolutely.
Let's do
Rob,
it.
you're the best. Thank you.
Thank you, my friend.